everyone. Hello, everyone. I am Judah Bernard with the Rise Creating Your Voice. I am the wisdom dialoguer and the motivational warrior of the Rise Creating Your Voice and the dialogue coach. I am excited for today. Today's topic is who or what are you pouring into? That's important. That's important. We're going to read some excerpts from Matt D. Talford, who is actually has 5 books out, 5 award-winning 5-time award-winning author of 3 books. And I just want to read some of his excerpts on his blog, sharing stories that inspire. It's just that to know that your daily energy stores physical, spiritual, mental, emotional, and they are limited. And those energy stores are physical, spiritual, mental, and emotional, but they are limited. And rest is required to replenish them. So, what does that mean to you and to me? It's simple. If we're dealing with a resource that is finite, it is imperative for us to be mindful of, pay attention to, or closely examine what and whom we pour our energy into. The question is, are you poured into people or situations that give back? And that is a big question. The question is, are you pouring into people or situations that give back? If you are, if you or I are pitchers and what's inside of us is water, tea, lemonade, etc., we must ask ourselves, are we pouring into cups or glasses that can replenish our thirsty when necessary? Or do the glasses or cups we pour into have cracks and holes in them? If those glasses and cups have cracks and holes, how long will it be before there is nothing left to pour out and nothing there for us to take in? Here's another question that he talks about. Have you heard the term good tired? Good tired is when you worked out in the yard all day, turning an ordinary facade into a beautiful landscape. Good tired is when you have toiled in the sun, breaking ground, pulling weeds, and planting beautiful shrubs and flowers, carefully arranging those botanical areas into shapes and designs that are pleasing to the eye. He further states, when you finish and you've gone inside, had a soothing bath and a nice meal, you go to bed feeling physically exhausted, but it's a good tired because you know what the payout will be. And when you go outside the next day, whether you're relaxing in the garden or leaving your home, when you behold the beauty that is the result of your labor, it recharges your mind and spirit, which also has a resultant positive effect on your body. Some of the other things is, and he says later on, his point is when it's time to go to bed at night, you should go to bed feeling great. If you're feeling awful when you retire for the evening or have a bunch of angst or turmoil on your mind, there's a good chance you're pouring your energy into people or situations that are not giving back. I want to read that once again because basically I want people to understand. The point is, when it's time to go to bed at night, you should go to bed feeling great. I'm going to repeat that. I think that listeners sometimes don't hear it once, twice, but I want to read it for a third time. The point is, when it's time to go to bed at night, you should go to bed feeling great. If you're feeling awful when you retire for the evening or have a bunch of angst or turmoil on your mind, there's a good chance you're pouring your energy to people or situations that are not giving back. Okay? And if that is the case, your mission when you wake up the next day is to immediately recharge in whatever way works best for your mind, body, and spirit. Then replace those broken glasses and cups with new ones that hold water. Too many times we're left with our glass half full and somebody else's glass is empty. So our question is, who or what are you pouring into? Sometimes we're going to leave you with this. There's an old saying that says, you get back what you put out. Well, that is certainly true in the long haul and is most often true on a daily basis. If you want to receive a kind word, give a kind word. Give a smile, get a smile, etc. But on an acute basis, that is always true. Accurately speaking, we don't always get back what we put out, and that can be draining. The point I'm making is be fully aware of the people and situations that you pour your heart into on a daily basis. Do those people or situations replenish you? Are you seeing growth and blossoming, not just in them, but in your own life? Your energy relative to your time in this life is finite. Be mindful of how you pour out. And that is from Matt D. Talford, who has 5-time award-winning author of 3 books. And I want to just put that out there for everyone that's listening at this moment. Who or what are you pouring into? Um, I don't think we think about that enough. And sometimes we pour into people that are not giving anything back to us. Many times that I pour into people, and sometimes I don't expect nothing back. And if they give it back, it's probably a plus for me. But then again, I don't look into it. So I stopped pouring a lot because people are ungrateful in many ways. Um, One thing I have to say is who or what are you pouring into? My life around everything now is God being my first priority. And the what is I pour into my own life now, being that I'm more successful pouring into my own life because at the time I was pouring out so much to everyone else, no one was replenishing the goods that I was giving out. So I made sure that I was replenishing myself. And sometimes you got to turn yourself off because basically you can pour out so much that people will drain you. So the who's, you have to understand who are you willing to pour out into? What are the what's are you pouring out into? And I know one thing people definitely, I mean, people that have children, they say, well, I had a client that said, well, I'm pouring into my children. And I asked, I said, well, are you tired at night after you pour out into your children? They was like, yeah, I'm very tired because they run around, do this and do that and all that. And I said, well, how are they pouring back into you? Well, they don't know how to. I said, that's interesting. Being that you're the parent, you should teach them how to pour back into you. Well, that became a positive because they didn't know any strategies in how the children should pour back into them. By doing chores, teach them how to do chores, teach them how to do different things to assist you in the daily life that you have to give them. You can teach them early how to dress themselves. That's a chore that can definitely be done. But then again, you have some kids that will continue to misbehave and do other things, but then you still have to rear them where I didn't say whip, I say rear them to be successful citizens. So, like I tell people, sometimes everybody to say, spare the child, spare the, what is it? Spare the rod, spoil the child. I don't think that way because I know I have my godson that I've never whipped in my life. And I think it's by what you plan on, the energy that you put into them. They will respect you with the energy you put into them. Whipping is not always a great mechanism for me because I know I got a lot of that. So I don't condone that type of thing because it sets the child up for either being abusive or doing other things that can be more adjusted to hitting someone. So people got to really, really understand. People really, really have to understand what that means. So in it, we must understand that we got to continue. We have to continue to do what's necessary to about who or what we're pouring into. Poured into a lot of things that people just don't know. Poured into different things. Some people pour into football games. Some people pour into different things. Some people pour into casinos. And that's why I put in there, who or what are you pouring into? So we must understand what that actually means. So every day, we must understand that it has to be a place that we are in our special life where we need to assess. And that's why I put in the about. It's time to start assessing. Who are you pouring into? What are you pouring into? And also, what are you going to do to continue to know what or who you're pouring into? One thing I asked, and I asked this early on, was we need to know who or what we're pouring into, because sometimes they can take all the water or your overflow out of your glass and nothing is left for you. And now you're tired or exhausted. And now they're still the same. They poured everything out of you just to get what you had. And that's one thing we have to understand is, what does that look like? What does that look like? That look like someone that has really, really, give people attention. And that's not good attention or bad attention, but the attention that's probably not needed by other people. Sometimes it's relationships. Sometimes it's family members. Sometimes it's just different people. But if people are not pouring into you, I I know for sure that um, what's that worth? What's the worth in it all? What's the worth in it all of trying to pour into other people? Um, One other thing I want to say, that you want to feel good once you're in a situation and you know you've done good by someone. But if you're feeling exhausted, if you're feeling unkind or need to recharge, um, they haven't done anything to you. So I try to tell people it's like getting a battery. That person should be charging you as much as you're charging them. It should be like iron sharpen iron. And most time people don't understand that because they don't know what iron is. Some people are aluminum foil. That'll wrap up the iron and keep it. Some people are just different. And we must understand what they are there for and what that purpose is, because basically sometimes people can actually drain you. I know that to be very, very true. Very true. So part of this, we want to do a time to start assessing. What does that mean? The time to start assessing is, who are you hanging out with? What are you spending all your money on? What are you pouring all your money into? So you must be reminded that whatever that is, you need to really, really look at or write it down. I tell people all the time, write it down. Write it down. Write it down. You know who you talk to. You know if somebody's draining your energy. Write it down. It's okay to know who and what is draining your energy. That means you're pouring too much into them. And I bet if you just take 7 days away from them, you'll feel so much better. Because we all need to recharge our mind and spirit. As I read earlier, these are energies. Your energy stores are physical, spiritual, mental, and emotional. And they have a limit. They have a limit. They have a limit. You can only take so much. Yes, I've seen people in spiritual warfare with themselves. And some people have taken their lives in their spiritual warfare. Some people have taken their life in their physical warfare. Some people have taken their lives in a mental warfare. Some people take their lives in emotional warfare. So that's why I started saying is it's time to start assessing yourself, because you just may be in a war with yourself where you're trying to pour into yourself and going nowhere without the proper healing, without the proper doing what you need to do in order to get further ahead than what you already are. And one thing is, if you don't start assessing, you're going to attract that same type of person or people or society or clique. And then you guys are going to be draining each other. And that's not what you want. It's time to start assessing. I said I was going to be very quick on today. I didn't want to stay too long and want to keep it very short. And I definitely want to go to this mindfulness practice because I think this is very important to know what we need to do each and every day. So we're definitely going to go to this mindfulness part. And we want to thank everybody for joining us today and definitely supporting us. Because we're here for you. We're here for you. We'll go ahead and cue up the music so we can do. Sit comfortably with your back straight or lay on the floor. Take a few deep breaths and relax your body. Start to focus your attention on your breath as it goes in and out of your body. When you notice your mind wandering, just observe without judgment and return to the breath. Then move your attention to any sounds you can hear around you. The sounds of your breath and body, sounds in the room you are in. Then expand to what you can hear further away from you. Next, focus on what you can smell. Notice any strong scents you can pick up on. There may be faint smells, or you may smell nothing at all. Notice that as well. Bring your attention to taste. Can you taste anything at all? Notice and be aware of what you may or may not be tasting right now. Now bring your attention to what you are feeling in your body. Feel where your skin is in contact with your clothes or the chair or the floor. feel the air on your body? Are you warm or cool? Notice any sensations you feel inside your body, any warmth or tingling. With closed eyes, visualize the room you are in. The colors and shapes surrounding you. The pictures on the wall and furniture in the room. Spend a few moments noticing your thoughts and your mind. Are they racing around in the past or the future, or calmly floating by? Or are they completely in the present moment? When your time is up, gently open your eyes and look around you. How do you feel? Are you more relaxed and peaceful than before? Now you can take this relaxed, calm feeling into your night. All right, how's everyone feeling? Can you hear me? Are you asleep still? So we just want to know that was like a mindful sensing.
Feel real good.
Just to just to spend a few minutes during your day to focus on your senses.
Uh,
Sometimes, hello,
okay,
can you hear me?
cool. I hear you.
Okay, so yeah,
A little
and
late
what the
getting
topic?
on, but I did.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I was letting you know I was late getting on.
Okay, yeah, we were talking about the who or what are you pouring into. So if you want to elaborate on that, we were just closing out with our mindfulness exercise because we didn't want to stay too long tonight.
Okay. Yeah, we got this bit of a jet lag, and we got here and fell out, and I realized that I said, "Oh man, it's Tuesday night," and
Oh, we
we got
understand. I
yeah.
understand jet lag well.
Woo. Wow.
Trust me, I can. Especially when it's 3 hours behind.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. I realized it was that much. It's a difference.
Big difference.
And to elaborate on who we pointing to, I guess a lot of times we always look at everybody else, but you need to look in the mirror and look at yourself and see what you need to um, correct, improve, or even find out what you need to improve or need to look at. There's a lot to be looked at. I got a chance to really visit a lot of things within myself while I was on the vacation. It is mind-boggling how people don't realize how much it is to look within yourself. And it's hard to do that sometimes. And I can understand where Jesus went to himself by himself a lot of time to pray and to really go within himself. And it's a lot of times you can't do that when you're at home. You go away from home, and you could go within yourself and see a lot of things that you don't normally see when you're at home. But the one you need to be pointing to is self. Appreciate the topic, and the elaboration is that when you look at yourself and see what you need to improve, don't think about it, just do it.
I totally agree with you. And that's one thing that I tell people, that number one is we're too busy pouring into so many other things. And one thing that I talked about is the who is, you're pouring into so many things. And I had a client who told me, she just poured into her children.
Mm.
And I asked her, I said, well, what are your children pouring into you? She said, well, they're just kids. I said, I totally agree with you. But then again, if you're tired and you're exhausted by the end of the day,
Right.
then they're not pouring anything into you. What are they doing to help you?
He said poor. I thought he said poor.
She didn't get it. But in that, we kept moving, and she got it at the end. So I want people to understand that sometimes we seek things and start doing things as far as gratification for us. And we see that sometimes they are extreme when we feel like that we were pouring into them or doing what we did necessary. But like James said, we all need to just pour into ourselves. If we take the time out
Okay.
to just stop and look at everything that you need to recover from or reorganize or declutter or whatever from your life, you take that time out, you will not have time for anybody else but you. But we're too
True.
busy worrying about somebody driving this, somebody has this, and somebody has that. Talking about it's a lot of just carnal minds that are out here.
True.
And it does not have to be that, because God is love. And people say they love people, but if God is love, I don't see the exemplification of that love. If God is love, that means if you doing different from what God is, then how is God love in your relationship?
True that.
So
And
we must
also,
understand. Go ahead.
when you pouring into people, you need some time to I guess, to revitalize yourself, so you can be able to pour more into people. But once you've emptied, it's hard to continue to pour into people when you've emptied. You got to go and be revitalized. So you got to be regenerated, reassess all the things to rejuvenate all the things. You got to be redone because you pour it out, and that's what people don't get in a lot of as well. They think they can continue to give. You can only give so much until you give out. Then you got to regenerate. You got to rejuvenate. You got to revitalize. You got to be in. You got to get some more to be able to give. I put it like that.
That's great, because that's one example that I gave earlier. It's about having a battery.
Do
You
that.
can go get a little, and an example I can use is, those diehards that's usually $119 or $179,
Right.
and try to charge that up with a $39 battery. It's not going to work.
No.
It's not going to work. And some people come in with 1999 batteries and trying to charge up to your 179 battery.
No.
It doesn't work.
No, it
You got to
doesn't.
be equally yoked in that too. That's why people are tired. You can't sleep well and can't do a lot of things. Talking about you can't sleep, I can't rest. Well, guess what? You've drained yourself. Let's just say that.
True.
Ain't nobody drained you. You drained yourself.
True
You
that.
allowed them to take all your energy away.
Mm,
You allowed it. So I'm not going to put it on anybody else. I'm going to tell you, you allowed it.
right.
And that's a good way to put it. You allowed that energy to be drained.
Mm,
And one of the things I talked about was daily energy stores, which are the physical, spiritual, mental, and emotional stores, which they are limited. You have a limited supply of physical energy, spiritual energy, mental energy, and emotional energy. And you must recharge it. You
true.
have to. Like James said, revitalize. Put
What
another battery pack in.
physically we as human beings we are limited to how much we could accept for a charge, and that the elements of the fountain where the charge is coming from is not is not limited, but we are limited about how much we can uphold. Once we are full, that's the maximum we give. Then we had to go and let that out, then go back and be recharged. So the, from where we get our our, our electricity or our energy from, our spirituality from, that station is full. But we as individuals in our limited capacity can only hold so much. So once we be recharged, then we go out and then be able to help somebody else. But then you still have to go back to the main station to be recharged again. So I'm much with you, and I can see that now. And I think that's what we had the opportunity to do on our vacation. We had the opportunity to recharge. So just coming into a session that you got who you're pouring into is very helpful, and it helped me to see now why we went where we went, and it was refreshing and recharging. So we did exactly that. So we're in a position now to where we can be able to pour into people because we have recharged ourselves.
Well, thank you for recharging. But that's always good. And the one thing is I did tell people before is even when you think that you are full,
Mhm.
sometimes people want more and more and more and more and more, and then you kind of burn your wire.
Right.
And that's when you start with the emotional and mental part of it.
Mm.
And I talked to people already, well, talked before beforehand, and I aforementioned everything that some people are in physical warfare, some people are spiritual warfare, some people in mental warfare, some people in emotional warfare. And I talked about people taking their lives because they have been trying to get so wired and
Right.
have so much going on that they're just out of whack
Mm. Mm.
because they have not did the recharging.
True.
You recharge, but sometimes you overcharge,
True.
and now you beyond your limit.
Mm.
You're maxed out, and that's when it goes left and right. And then next thing you know, it's different things that happen to different people. So you must know what your limit is.
Right.
You
Exactly.
have to know that. Nobody can tell you what your limit is. I know when I'm tired, I go to bed.
Mm.
I will remove myself from an environment if they tire me out.
True.
And I'm okay with that. And that's my boundary that I've set. If you tire me out, guess what? I'm gonna go to bed.
True.
But if you have people that's gonna charge you, you can stay all night long sometimes.
True.
But that's good energy that you want. You don't want the negative energy.
True.
You don't want the negative energy. So the question is, are you pouring into people or situations that give back?
Wow.
And that's one thing we have to understand. Those people giving it back.
Mm. It's
Just
ironic you might say that, and we were there with our nephew, and his son told us he really liked being around us because we are so positive. He said,
mm,
and I realize now what he's saying. that we give off positive energy instead of negative energy.
Right.
Wow.
And that's one thing people have to understand. If you are so caught up into whatever the situation is, I want people to start to reevaluate that situation. And what I mentioned earlier was number one is if you're in a bad relationship, that relationship is still going to be bad tomorrow
True that.
until you fix something about it. It's a behavior that both parties are having. And if no
Right.
one is willing to change, that is only going to get worse.
True that.
And everybody blaming everybody else and nobody taking accountability and responsibility for the individual things that they did,
Right.
it's only going to get worse. So is that person pulling back to you, or is that situation pulling back into you?
Hmm.
I know a lot of people, and I talked about the what. They pull into these casinos. People lose houses.
True.
They pour into it thinking they're going to get a residual back
Hmm.
and get so caught up
Wow.
and lose so much.
That's true.
So we have to understand who and what we're pouring into. What is what's the buyback?
Right.
What's the percentage? What's the interest rate?
Hmm.
What are you going to get back? So it's a lot that we have to really really assess going into these days, into these nights with people, and that's even in relationships.
Right.
That's with any relationship,
That's true.
any relationship. So we have to understand whatever we're doing, we need to have a good tired
Hmm.
where if you go into bed and you know that y'all had a good night, that you can wake up and actually look at them in the morning.
Right.
That's a good tired.
Hmm.
That you want to be around them in the morning.
Right.
But if you fussing and cussing all night long and drinking and shaking and all that stuff, and it's not gonna be a good thing when you wake up in the morning because you're just gonna be upset. That's
Right.
not a good tired.
Hmm. Still in the same mess.
Still in the same mess. You wrong and you know it. So the one thing is, I want to emphasize that when we go to bed at night, we should be feeling great.
Right.
I'm just keeping it real.
That's true.
Anybody that's going to bed and you angry going to bed, you might want to change your situation. Whatever made you angry. I don't know. Maybe it was the dog. Maybe you don't need a dog. I don't know. But it has to be some type of thing that if you can't sleep, something has messed up your psyche, your physical, your spiritual, your mental, whatever it is.
Right.
Because my fiance told me, she's like, you could just go to sleep anyway. I said, I have peace.
Hmm.
Like, you can go to sleep while I'm driving because I have peace. If I'm tired, I'm going to sleep.
Right.
I'm just going to do it. I'm okay with that. So it's just, we have to really, really start assessing. And that's one thing that I tell my mentees a lot is I want you guys to be, guys and girls, to be better than what I was.
Right.
I said at the end of the day, I wish for me that I knew a lot that I know now.
Hmm.
But I said, but I'm in a time and an era where I can teach people now.
Right.
So my living is not in vain.
True that.
But then again, you see the same rotation coming by because I was hard headed and stuff too as well. You get the same vibe back. So it's trying to see the good in them, but then again, they have to see the good in themselves, and that's my takeaway is you have to see the good in yourself. I can see the good in you, but you have to see the good in yourself.
That's true.
So we always got to remember that you get back what you put out.
Hmm.
So if you give a kind, if you get receive a kind word, you give a kind word.
True that.
You give a smile, you get a smile.
True that. Bless Lord.
But always remember, you just get what you put out.
True that.
That's how it happens. Any questions, any comments? Jill, you have something to say? She's up.
Yes, I'm up. I agree with everything that's been said. You have to recharge, and
Mhm.
I know that so very well, both at work and at home.
Right,
You're trying to do so much for different people, and it's only so much that you can do with
That's
the
it.
energy that you have.
Right.
right.
It starts wearing you down.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So, been there, done that. So I was like, this is not working. So I have
Right,
to make a change. And a lot of times people can see that you being worn down, but it's still looking at what they want. And when it's like that, you have to be the one to make the change.
That's it.
Because if you don't, you keep going down and they just keep,
Keep
okay,
pulling.
well, do you have some more to give? Do you have some more to give? And you really don't have that. And they say, oh, okay, you need to get you some rest, or you need to do this, or but still, let me ask you this. Let me find out about this. So I don't take it as just not caring, but it also is a point to where you got to pull back, and sometimes you have, well, they're not sometimes, at all times, you have to do some things that you need to do for yourself.
That's true.
You have to do some things that you need to do for yourself. And when they get to the point to where you care more about other people than they care about themselves, you really have to step back and show them what it is that they're not doing,
Mm.
because you can't do it all for them. And I had to find that out for myself and pull back. And now I feel better. I've always been able to sleep. Now I sleep even better.
Mm.
And that's my
Yep, it's called Sleep in Heavenly Peace.
No.
amen.
Sweet rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, real sleep.
Now.
I
Yeah.
call it slumbering.
Tell you, fall asleep and don't even know you're there.
That part. Be like, ooh, thank you. But
Okay.
no, it was just in one mind that people really, really have to understand of what they pour into. And I think what people still have to think about daily. What are you pointing to and who are you pointing to?
Right.
And that's one thing that I have to tell my job that I'm currently on. Look, I gotta back up and go back to the gym because I think I'm doing too much for y'all.
Okay.
So let me pull back till y'all can pay me enough, then I can be received by the competition and the competitiveness of my pay.
Mm.
So you got to know when to fold and when to walk away.
That's true
Yes,
now.
yes.
So I'm just thankful that I have this sense of mind and this sense of light and spirituality of knowing
Yeah,
that
that's
God is still the, huh?
that's agreeing with you. I'm saying that's it.
Yeah, that the God is still the source.
Mm.
And if you continue to keep Him first,
All right.
that's part of the structure.
Mm. The
But
key.
then again, we want to always put other things ahead of Him.
Mm.
So we have to be mindful. Everything that you do, put God first.
All right.
Yes.
Everything.
That's it.
Everything. I'm
Everything.
sorry, everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how to keep saying everything.
That's right.
That's it.
um, so yeah. Um, but it's time to start assessing and making sure that we're putting out what we're gonna put back into the world and making sure that everybody can be receiving of what you're putting back in. But as we say in church, iron sharpens iron. And what we got to still remember that iron has to be just as sharp as you are. Like I said earlier, some people are aluminum foil. That means they're just gonna wrap up and be
All right
Right.
now.
on you. So that's not iron.
Oh,
So some people, you know,
yes.
you got to explain the real. Put it in layman's terms. You have to assess where you are. You know you're not iron, but you're saying iron sharpens iron. You're not iron. Some people are not iron, but they call themselves iron. So we gotta be
All right
mindful.
now.
Okay.
we got to be mindful of
Mm,
how how we associate ourselves too as well. So,
that's
are
true.
there any good
So the
good
iron you're saying is the genuineness that they put out.
say it again?
I said the iron they saying they're iron. They saying they're iron, but they're not genuine. So they're not the product of iron. So the product
Yeah,
of iron is realism and genuinency.
yeah, and
And if
truthful
they just
and
put
honesty.
in and they trying to right. So and when you say iron, that's the iron is made up of certain elements.
Hmm.
So the iron that we speaking of is made up of truth, realism, righteousness, humbleness, all the submissiveness, all those things makes up iron. And if you're not having those elements, then you're not iron. You just,
Right.
like you said, aluminum, tin, any
Copper,
other, yeah,
steel,
some other minerals.
some other elements.
Right. Wow.
But yeah, and I think people really don't get that because they will be quick to say, "Oh, iron sharpens iron." I'm looking like, "I'm iron. I know I'm iron, and you haven't
Whatever.
sharpened me yet."
Ah, ah,
I don't feel your Chris.
That
okay.
part.
Wow. That's a lot right
Wow.
there.
What was that? What was that? Not a Dewey Decimal System. What's it called? The element board. I can't remember what it's called.
The chemistry chart.
Yeah, something like that. The element board
That
or
element,
something.
those that element charts where it got all the
Right.
elements on there and
Yeah.
what numbers are.
Yeah. So yeah. I think you need to go down to that bottom section and probably figure out something out there for you. Cause I know I'm on.
That was very eye-opening and what to say, knowledgeable, and it really set the tone for me because and people will say that they use the terms, but they're not in the same elements. So
Mm-mm.
using the term don't make you iron.
Oh, say that again.
Using the term don't make you iron.
Okay. Amen.
Say that out
Wow.
loud. Say it out loud for the people in the
Wow.
back.
Ah,
It's just saying the word don't make you
Don't make and just you saying it does not make you iron, and you saying it to somebody that's an iron, that's disrespectful because you know you're not iron.
you wrong and you know it.
yeah.
That part.
Right.
Season 2.
Ah! Wow.
And
You
it's
know,
just yeah, it's
you
people
know,
will say it. Like,
I've said it, and people have said it to me, but the understanding of the analogy of it is just coming now.
mhm,
And I knew that it is true that iron sharpen iron, but if a person is saying it, it's saying it to you in order for you to sharpen them, and you sharpening them and they're not iron, you just rub it on paper, you
that
rub it
part.
on tissue,
Aluminum
you rub
foil.
it on something, yeah. You rub it on anything else, you're not sharpening, but you put forth the effort, but you just tiring yourself out for nothing.
That
Because
Amen.
part
you're not sharpening nothing.
You
at
just
all.
tired.
They
Wow.
might be sandpaper.
Oh, see there. Leaving residue, that's all they doing.
That part. And go telling you back to go energize.
Right. Wow.
Glass half full.
Wow.
That's why I'm very mindful of talking to people sometimes. And, people, iron sharpens iron. And they'll be like,
True that.
yeah, I got to go.
And what elements are you?
Huh?
You need to ask them, well, what elements are you?
Mm-mm. I wouldn't even begin. Like I told one person, I said, I just don't see you as being iron, and I don't take offense to it, but you're not iron. So
Wow.
I can't sharpen with you because I wouldn't be sharpening against anything because you're not iron. And
Right.
I had to be truthful to that person. Like I'm giving you everything I'm giving you, but you're saying iron sharpens iron, so you should be feeding back to me.
Right. You measuring up to what I'm giving you so we can sharpen each other.
And there was no sharpening.
Wow.
I couldn't even
Okay.
go to the pencil sharpener.
Ooh.
It wasn't even a piece of lead. You was just there to get. That's all.
Now.
But iron sharpens iron. You give back. So
Right.
that's what people have to understand too, as well. Is give back
Wow.
equally to what
Wow.
was given. Like
Wow.
if I give you a smile, you give me a smile back.
Wow.
And some people are just like, what is leeches? That's what it's called.
They're just taking.
Just taking parasites,
Sucking all your energy out.
sucking it out, and they will sit there as long as you allow them to.
Right.
So, like I tell you, it's not nobody taking anything from you. You allow them to get it from you.
Wow.
So that's why I want people to start assessing and making sure that we are knowing when to pull back and recognize when those people are just not for you. Everybody you meet is just not for you.
True that.
Just not. And they will drain you dry.
Wow.
And before you know it, you're like, man, I got to go lay down. Yeah, if you got to go lay down, guess what? Who you just got through talking to drained you.
Wow.
They had nothing meaningful. It's just like a cup of coffee. Get a bad cup of coffee and see how you feel.
Let down.
All the way. Like, man, that stuff is nasty. Yep, that's what people do. That's what they do. But in the light of everything, you know, we still have good people out here, but start assessing where you are. Yes, iron does sharpen iron, but be a true iron. Be a true iron in what you do, your walk and everything. Be true.
That's it. Wow.
And that's what makes you iron.
The truth train.
Just because you feel like you are iron doesn't mean that you portray iron.
Right.
So you probably need to do an assessment of the elements. Like element table, I guess that's what it's called. I can't remember. Scientific something. What's it? Yeah, I don't know.
The element chart?
I think so. You know, I gotta look it up now.
Girl, what you said? What? You said
I thought it was the element chart, but I thought it was something else.
What did you say? What?
Scientific notation. Periodic table.
Periodic table.
I knew it was a table or something. It was a periodic table. That's it.
With the elements on it.
Right.
Periodic table.
Yes.
Wow.
I could not leave here without knowing what that was.
Right.
Well, the question is, do you know your elements?
Oh, no. Or do you know what a periodic table is?
That's true. That is true now.
Right.
Wow.
Some people probably don't even know iron is on there.
See that? They talk about iron, but don't know what iron is.
They don't even know where to find it.
See that?
But they iron.
Wow.
That's heavy talk right there.
That is true now.
So, any other questions, comments?
No, this is very helpful, very inspiring, eye-opening to where we've come from and where we've been and what we need to do, how we need to approach what we need to do, how we need to find out what people are pouring into us, and what kind of, what's the name of the chart again?
Periodic table.
What periodic table are they on? Or if they're on the periodic table. Wow.
Yeah.
What element are you?
Or what element you trying to be in?
You want to be an iron because iron sharpen iron. So I need to know, where are you?
Well, we're just gonna leave that right there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what people need to understand. I mean, they hear languages and jargon and slogans, and they use them so frequently,
right?
And they don't know exactly what it means. So you're mimicking a slogan.
Exactly.
That means you have an imposter syndrome. So we must understand what that means in every aspect.
Exactly.
And that goes for all your Christians out there too now.
Exactly.
That's the Christian periodic table.
That part.
You have to continue to do the right thing.
Right.
If you say you're a Christian, guess what? Like
You
iron
must.
sharpens iron.
You
Make sure that you are a Christian.
must be born again.
And don't forget surrendering.
Nah, that
Because
part.
some people forget that part.
Exactly.
I just get baptized and I'm good. No.
Wow.
Got a little more to do.
A lot more.
A lot
Yeah.
more.
So people you have to understand. And we just want to give you a little bit, you have to pray, you gotta fast, you gotta manifest, you have a lot to do. Gotta read the Bible
Do
and gotta
these
obey the
things.
commandments.
Not say them, but do them.
And do everything in the Bible as far as the commandments. Okay.
Wow.
2 Timothy says, study to show thyself approved. So we're
That's
just
it.
saying, not saying that we're all perfect, but we can reach
No.
our
Put
eternal
forth,
goal, which is heaven.
putting forth a genuine effort to do that.
Say it again.
Putting forth a genuine effort to do
And
that.
what's a genuine? Look, and what's
All
a genuine
you
effort?
have-
Because everybody might not.
Being real.
All you have in your being to really do what you say you're doing.
And you're going to have to leave some of that mess behind.
Nah. But genuine effort.
All of your mess.
Nah. Genuine don't have mess. Genuine to mean that
Being real.
you have sifted, a sifter, you get all the bad crumbs, you just have the real stuff going through you and shifted all that.
Right.
Now you just got the real meal.
Right.
Wow.
So we must understand that we got to keep moving forward toward the upward goal.
True that now.
Every time you go back to the past, that's going downward.
All right now.
So you got to move toward the upward goal.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about the upward. Any words of wisdom? Any words of comments?
Wow. It's all I can say. Wow right now, because it's just a wow moment for me too. As long as I've been talking about iron sharpen iron and all the things, the wow moment's just not coming.
We be wowing them all day.
I hear you. Bless the Lord.
Yes. Any words of wisdom, Gerald?
No. You just have to pay attention to yourself, know yourself, and help those that you can help, and give them an opportunity to help themselves. So you don't get drained.
Right. Totally agree. So as we leave here today, we want to give several announcements. On every Tuesday night, we have the Podbean Live, which is potpourri nights every Tuesday night. So it can be anything. And we just talked about who or what are you pointing to, because we know in some situations that every day we pour into people the who and the what. And sometimes we don't get residuals back, or there's not enough stuff in us to replenish. So we go and do other things. It's like the gym and different things like that, because people can drain you.
True that.
They can drain you. They can drain you. So sometimes you have to just take some rest for yourself, and also some re-energizing and something to re-energize you back. I do a lot of meditations and I do a lot of praying and things like that to make sure that I'm re-energized so I can continue throughout the day. Also, drink lots of water, please.
True that.
Water is good for you, okay, people? Contrary to one's belief, water is good for you. Don't overfill yourself, but fill yourself, okay?
Right.
Satisfy your need, okay?
That's
Another announcement is every Sunday Jewels on the Rise with LaRonda, who is the co-host, and we be on Instagram Live at The Rise, Creating Your Voice, or at Jewels Mentoring LLC. Every Wednesday night, we have Bible study at Greater Tabernacle Ministries. We are in Hebrews, the 12th chapter and the 20th verse, and that's at 6:15 p.m. Central Standard Time and 7:15 Eastern Standard Time. Every second Thursday, we have repairing your spiritual relationships, which talk about church hurt. We want everybody to come out and actually listen in. That number is you can go to the Start Meeting app and put in 3Sims3, that THREESIMS 3, and it can actually join you into there. When you join into that, you also see a number that you can press just in case you want to dial into as well. You can download the Start Meeting app. It's a little green thing that has like Start Meeting over the top of it, so it's easy to find. Okay.
Or you can
Also,
you can dial in 774-258-6705. That's 774-258-6705.
And also every Sunday we have Sunday school at 8:45 Central Standard Time and 9:45 Eastern Standard Time, and church is immediately after that. Aren't there any other questions, anything like that? So definitely come by and visit. If you want to look at any of the archives, it's www.therise.live. You can go and see all of the over 150 episodes that are already in the archives, and we are just loving it and loving the message that we're giving out. And come on, be a guest on the show. Bring lots and lots of people. It does not matter. We have an open topic and open dialogue, but we remain positive in each and everything that we do because we believe in positivity, and positivity is what's going to help us be a better world. Any other questions as we leave here today?
Amen.
There will be none. And so we'll be signing off. And as we leave here, it's tell a friend, tell a foe, tell your spouse. Heck, tell everyone. We'll see you the next time we on Podbean Live, or meet us Sunday at the Sunday Jewels on the Rise with LaRonda. And also you can go to at The Rise Creating a Voice on Instagram, or at Jules Mentoring LLC. Everyone, let's have a good night. And also remember to start assessing yourself. That's your homework tonight. Assess yourself. Continue to assess yourself and see some of the things that you can remove or erase from your life to make your behavior become better and much richer. Okay? Good night.